federated blockchains will gain popularity in future? First of all, I was a bit confused because it was a new word for me, federated blockchains. So could you please explain what are these blockchains?
I think the term federated blockchain is something that 3-4 years ago was not even considered a blockchain. I would talk to people and they would say, oh, how is a blockchain if it's not a public blockchain? There's no such thing. I think private blockchain is something that some people are more familiar with, right? And I guess, I didn't know, maybe I'm missing something, but it seems to me like this is the basic technology, and yes, you could have control over it with, less nodes or less decentralization, but at the end of the day, to me, it still seemed like a blockchain, right? I didn't know, but now you have this, the advent of federated blockchains, and
at least federated blockchains will have less manipulation though.
But I imagine there's also less security at the same time because suddenly it's a lot more centralized and a lot more open to attack, right? I think it was at your event in Karachi where I had one of the better explanations of blockchain as far as security goes, where you can have one large fortress, which would be similar to the cloud, or you can have 20 smaller little castles where your data is stored, and if someone has to attack 11 of them to access the data, then that might be a little bit harder than attacking the one. And all of a sudden, you're decreasing the number of little castles with a federated blockchain in most cases, and so that I think becomes a problem. And the term is still up for some debate, so correct me if I'm going off a little bit, but you can have these blockchains either from governments or from consortiums, right, or from a single company. And it does sort of hurt the idea, obviously, that there's a public ledger, but at the same time, there's ways to make these auditable. Like you said, information is still time-stamped. Each block is still set in stone and should not be able to be changed. Although I remember, I can't remember, it was E&Y or someone tried to patent a blockchain editor, which I never understood. But I think, that basic concept is still there. So we're kind of taking a step back, and this goes again to the grand vision versus the reality. In these cases, we're kind of taking a step back from the idea of complete openness to having to have trusted parties. And it could be the case that governments will have to step in the case where these are consortiums or private companies, and be able to have some kind of program or some agency that audits the data, right? For example, if you have these financial services companies that are keeping all of this private, there's not much different from today, right? So number one, it's not like we're taking a step backwards from the system that exists today, but at the same time, I guess we could have more faith in the records.
More efficiency, I guess.
Right, and more efficiency. As a government regulator, if I can come in and just audit the data very, very quickly, because everything's there, right? I just need a key to be able to access it, and everything's there. That's wonderful. And for me, this goes into some less sexy applications of blockchain, like accounting.